And great to have you with us on this Monday. Tomorrow will mark 2 weeks since the election, yet people living in Cheektowaga still don't know who their next supervisor will be. With all of the votes counted, Democrat Brian Nowak is beating Republican Michael Jasinski by just 57 votes. Now, because that falls within a half a percentage point, state law requires an automatic recount. That will happen tomorrow. In a moment, we'll ask one of the Erie County Elections Commissioners about that process. First, though, we reached out to both candidates today. Brian Nowak told me that he's confident his very small lead there will hold.
And it might not be 57, it might be 52, it might be 64, but I'm going to maintain the lead that I had on election night, and I grew as the remaining absentees and affidavits came in. So the end result is going to be the same. The number might look just a little different.
If after the recount you end up losing, will you concede immediately?
I expect to come out on top, and if for some reason I don't, yeah, I'm going to accept the results.
Meanwhile, Jasinski posted on Facebook that Nowak cheated by showing a police officer in one of his campaign flyers. Now, we did a review of election law and also checked out a ruling last year by the state's Division of Election Law Enforcement. It seems that the ad that Nowak produced was within the law. We'll see how that plays out. We reached out to Jasinski on Friday and again today to talk to him as well, but we did not hear back. But joining me live tonight here is Republican Erie County Elections Commissioner Ralph Mohr. Really appreciate you coming in to kind of talk about how this is going to play out. And I like to always sort of preface this with the fact that you and your Democratic counterpart, when it comes to these elections, are completely bipartisan. So what one of you says, the other agrees with, right?
That's
to your
true.
credit.
That's true.
Yeah. So let me just start here with the basics. In terms of this Cheektowaga Supervisor's race, how did we get here? Why a recount, and how is it going to play out tomorrow?
Well, about 3 years ago, the state legislature mandated a procedure that the Erie County Board of Elections has been following for several decades, and that is that we recount every election where you have a very close race. What they said is if it's within 0.5% or under 20 votes, we conduct that recount. Now, the Board of Elections has already tallied up the number of ballots which were handed out, and it was accounted for each and every ballot that was cast. What we're going to be doing tomorrow is we're going to take a physical look at each and every ballot and make sure that the machines that were tabulating at the polling places and at our offices counted that ballot correctly.
After that happens, is that sort of the end of it, or are there still potential maybe legal challenges, or do you think tomorrow we're going to know who the next Cheektowaga supervisor is?
Well, I think we're going to know tomorrow who the next supervisor is in the town of Cheektowaga. There's always the ability for legal challenges. However, the Board of Elections in Erie County has not been overturned in the 30 years that I've been commissioner. What has occurred is that you have the ability for absentee ballots to come into the Board of Elections, but that time has expired 13 days after the election. So every legal ballot that is able to be cast and counted has been received by the Board of Elections, and we've already accounted for those ballots.
In terms of historical precedent for something like this, I was trying to think back. I mean, I've covered politics here for almost 15 years. Sometimes we get these automatic recounts, but it seems like they're more common in very small elections where you maybe only have a few hundred people voting. This is one of the big towns, Cheektowaga, and it's a supervisor's race. Have we seen something like this before? That's
true. We've had races that have been decided by a single vote, but they're primarily in smaller towns. We had one county-wide Democratic primary where the difference was 5 votes for a family court judge. And that recount went probably about a week and a half, but each and every ballot was counted and there were no legal challenges afterwards. The person won by 5 votes, and in a county this size, that's a very close margin as well.
Yeah, even closer than this one that we're talking about here. We'll learn a lot tomorrow as your staff and everybody, works on this automatic recount. Ralph Mohr is the Republican Erie County Elections Commissioner. Thanks for coming in.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.